So we keep hearing that be authentic, be in your authentic expression, but let's talk about what really authenticity is. See, the truth is, what is authentic to you now might not have been authentic to you 4 months ago. And what is authentic to you now might not be authentic for you 1 year from now. When we say authenticity, the only thing it means is what is authentic to you now. What is true for you now? That's the biggest question. Are you really being true to yourself now? Not 4 days ago, not a year later, not the version of you that was 6 months back, but are you being authentic to yourself now? Are you being true to yourself now about what things you want in life, where you are in life, what you are currently doing in your life, and whether that is aligned with the kind of person that you want to be and that you're working towards? That's the only thing about authenticity. What is true to you right now? That is the only question you need to ask yourself. So, for example, let's say you're in a job right now that you know is not true to you anymore. Does that mean that, okay, now that you have realized that this job is not true to you, you have to leave it right now, or else you're not being authentic to yourself? Actually, no. Little steps in baby steps also count. Let's take the same example that you found out that your current job and the current work that you're doing is not really aligned to you, is not really aligned with the kind of life you want, and you have realized that this is not what's true to you right now, and you want a different path in life. Well, the first thing is, are you being true to yourself about that? Because a lot of times in our lives, when we realize these things, maybe a relationship is falling apart and we're just too scared to admit it. Maybe this job that we had for 10 years is now no longer aligned and we are too scared to admit because we don't know this is what we've done for 10 years. What now? So that's the first question. Are you actually being true to yourself about what is aligned right now and what is not aligned right now? That's the first step. Because a lot of times people are scared to even admit to themselves, let alone other people, forget other people. We are scared to admit to ourselves what is no longer aligned. Okay, so that's the first thing. Are you really being true to yourself about what is aligned for you right now, about what is authentic to you right now, about what is true for you right now? And if you are, that in itself is a big step, to be very honest with you. And the second thing is, are you doing something to change it? Let's take the same job example. It doesn't mean that you have to quit today itself, although you can if you want to do it, to be very honest. But that's not what it means. Let's say you have had this realization. Are you now taking some active steps into finding out what else you could do, into finding out more about yourself, what things you're interested in, and what else you could make your career? Are you going deep within yourself to know what you want to do next? Are you searching maybe outside, what other opportunities exist? Maybe you're starting to talk to some people who have made a transition in their job. Maybe you are following those people on social media now, on YouTube. You are searching which people have made their career transitions and listening to their stories and getting advice and tips and this and that, and slowly, planning your transition and stuff like that. All of that also counts. The thing is, you are doing something to change it. Is what I meant to say. You are doing something to change it. And this can differ with different areas of life. In some areas of life, you can afford to transition and all these stuff. In other areas of life, if maybe like you're in a toxic relationship, the cutting off needs to happen, We need to get the courage to just freaking leave. Maybe that's one of the, one of the life thing. What is it called? One of the area of life in which maybe that slow transition is going to just harm you more and more, and it's not really gonna fix anything for you. So yeah, these are just two examples I gave you, but basically my point was to tell you that first, are you being authentic to yourself? Are you being true to yourself about what is aligned and what is not aligned anymore? Because maximum people, once we find out something is not aligned, our first instinct is to try to force this to get aligned with us. We try to somehow keep forcing this to become aligned again, but that's not gonna happen. This is already unaligned. It's gone. The alignment is not gonna come back. Even if that thing might come back in your life, it will come back in a very different way. Right? So this version of you that you are really trying desperately to make aligned it's already not aligned. That is our first instinct always, most of the times when we are attached to these things, to this thing. Not always, but yeah, let's say for relationships, obviously this is our first instinct. You really want to make this align when it is already gone. And even for jobs, sometimes it can be anything. So that was the first point. Are you being true to yourself about what is not aligned anymore? And second, are you doing something to change it? Are you doing something, anything to change it? Because I read it somewhere. If you are doing anything to change your current circumstances, to change your current situation, you should be very proud of yourself. Because a lot of people don't even have the courage to do that. And that is very true. Maybe you think that, these small steps, baby steps that you are taking in order to change your reality, they don't really count. And they are insignificant because you're not seeing any change whatsoever, but you have no idea how much they mean. Because most people don't even have the courage. I shouldn't say most people because I don't know who the word is. But let's just say a lot of people genuinely do not have the courage to admit to themselves that this thing is no longer aligned, and then they don't have the courage to do something to change their situation. So if you are doing something to change your situation, you should already be very proud of yourself. Okay, cool. Now, the third question that I want to ask you is, are you following the nudges that your soul is giving you? Are you following the nudges, those little things that your higher self is telling you, knocking that, hey, you should do this. Hey, you should maybe join this class. Hey, you should maybe call this friend from, 5 years back. Hey, you should maybe search on YouTube about this. Hey, maybe you should research a bit about this topic. You should maybe watch this video. This will guide you, whatever. Whatever nudges your higher self and your soul are giving you right now, are you following those? Because if you are, that's all you need to do. If you are the kind of person who follows your inner nudges, the nudges that your higher self is giving you, trust me, everything's fine. Everything's gonna be fine, because that's all you really need to do. Your higher self already knows the best path for you to your most fulfilled reality. You just have to follow the nudges that your higher self is guiding you towards. Okay, cool. So these are the 3 questions that I want you to ask yourself. Are you actually being true to yourself about what is aligned and what is not aligned anymore? Second, are you doing something to change your situation? Anything? Even if it's researching, anywhere from researching about a new job to completely leaving this job and handing in the resignation letter today. Anything. Are you doing something to change your situation right now? And the third question was, are you following the inner nudges of your soul? And if you're doing these things, trust me, you are so much probably not acknowledging yourself as much as you need to, because you're already doing enough. So, authenticity is not about fixing ourselves in some labels. But if you are fixing yourself in your labels, then just know that those labels are going to change. The real question is, what is true to you right now? What is authentic to you right now? Authenticity is fluid. You keep changing. We keep discovering ourselves more and more with time. And that's why our authenticity and what's true to us also keeps changing. And the labels and the boxes that we are putting ourselves in, they also keep changing. Right? So this is not really set in stone. But at that same time, I will say that we always have some core values as a human. Core values. Those, I feel, they are pretty constant. But even in that, what can differ is that, let's say in this phase of your life, your topmost core value is something, but like 5 years down the line, something that matters the most to you, that kind of changes. But as a human, you have some core values. And those are kind of almost the same or similar, even though they can sometimes differ a bit about what is really important to you in this phase versus that phase of life. So core values is something that I would really love for you to look into. If you haven't already, you can just Google a list of core values and you will see a lot of core values being listed on Google. So just look at that list and pick out your top 5 core values, 5 or 6 or whatever, and just see how much in authenticity are you living with those values. Which means you have listed down your values, like let's say top 5 values, and now how much in alignment do you live with those values? and how much in alignment you live with those values. It can be whether you are living like that exactly right now, or whether it is something you are working towards. That also counts, because as I said previously, if you're actively doing something to change your life, you should already be very proud of yourself. So look up core values and list down your core values if you haven't already. This is a very fun exercise to do if you're doing it for the first time. I really enjoyed it, and what I discovered was my core values, the phases of my life when I was the happiest until now, when I have been the happiest until now, that life was really in alignment with these core values that I have listed. So that is also an interesting thing to see. Look back on your life and pick some particular phase in which you were actually pretty satisfied and fulfilled. It doesn't have to be perfect. Life is not perfect. But what is your topmost? And with that phase, just compare your core values. Good chances are that you were living pretty much in alignment with your core values in that stage of life, even if it was not all of them, but it would be a significant amount of your core values that you were living in alignment with. So look up your core values. Those are something that will always be a part of you. That is something that your human essence will always have. That's just who you are as a person. And that is something that you can really define your authenticity with, even though others factors might keep changing about what is true to you now and then in this phase of life and 5 years later, but your core essence remains the same. So that's an interesting exercise to do. So look up your core values, and you know that your authenticity is not something that is set in stone. You as a human, you carry some core values, but what's true for you now might not always be true, which is perfectly fine. Right? So let me know in the comments below if this video resonated with you, and if you want to follow me for more spirituality, spiritual growth and development, all of these topics, then click on the subscribe button before. I make a lot of videos about these topics for you, and I'll see you in my next one. Till then, bye bye.